you are tuning in, do me a favor and let me know in the comments so I can see who's online with me, who has joined me this lovely Friday. It's been a while, right? Well, life. And honestly, sometimes I just need a break from the whole social media thing. Um, Meanwhile, I've had videos upon videos wanting to spill out of me. But then timing, it's all about timing. Sometimes I'm not able to devote the time that I'd like, and then there are other times I just don't feel like going online. I just have to admit that over this past week, 2 weeks, I've literally felt very much like I need to go within. And sometimes that's a good thing. And I encourage everyone to take a social media break, to literally unplug, disengage, because this can actually suck the life right out of you. And sometimes you got to let go in order to grow. And what does that mean? It means all the things that we become attached to, we have to learn to let go of. Otherwise, where our attention goes, energy flows. And so therefore, when you even think that you don't like something, just talking about it is feeding it. So it ends up mastering you and controlling you, even though you think you have control over it. So this is nettle herbal elixir mixed with Magic Mermaid, which has some E3 Live, pineapple, parsley, dandelion, some goodies. Just say that we all need to nourish our bodies. And I like my glass jars and my glass straws. So, the whole collective is going through a massive transformation right now. It has been for a very long time. We just went through some serious cycles of transits, and we're still continuing. We're in like a huge shift for the collective, for humanity, for the earth. No matter what's going on outside of us, it's always a reflection of what's going on within us. If you were to turn your insides out, everything that's in your atmosphere, your awareness, is going to be a reflection of what you are going through within you. Whether you want to deny it or reject it, the more you are willing to go within, the less you'll go without, meaning you won't be reactive to the externals because you'll be handling and dealing with your own internals. So even though you may see something on the outside you dislike, you're dissing it, you're dismissing it sometimes even. Oh, that's not a part of me. I don't like that about so-and-so or that situation. The truth of the matter is, you're dissing what's within you. And that which you are saying you dislike on the outside is really that aspect of yourself you're dissing on the inside. The more we're willing to go within and to heal those aspects of ourselves, instead of expecting the world to make us feel comfortable, because this is the problem we have right now, and you're seeing it on the world stage. Literally, they're turning things inside out, upside down, twisting words. Victims are becoming the victors, and victors are becoming the victims. It's like this whole badge of honor to talk about how someone else did something to you instead of you taking personal responsibility for your response and reaction to it. Because what triggers you, what angers you, controls you. And that is your work to do. So whatever that stirs up within you is your opportunity to go within and to heal that aspect. Not to point fingers out at others, not to blame and shame others for your feelings, your unresolved childhood traumas and wounds, because you're the adult now. It's up to you to humble that ego that wants to point fingers, because you got 3 fingers pointing back at you. It's up to you to become the adult, to be the higher person. The only way to clear karma is to stop repeating your old patterns. Because karma is simply you falling victim to your own choosing. Are you going to respond or react? When something triggers you and upsets you, can you be in awareness? Can you slow down and take a deep breath and go, ooh, that's rumbling something familiar. It's not about the other person, but they are reminding you that there's something stirring that's unresolved. They're just serving as a catalyst. They're bringing it to the surface for you, serving it up without a bow to remind you you haven't dealt with this yet. The sooner you deal with it, not the other person, bless that person, because it's your enemies that they're the ones that lift you the highest. But when they serve up on the platter that old trigger, that old wound, that old trauma, it's giving you the opportunity to go back and to really sit with that. Oh, I thought I dealt with that. Oh, I thought I healed that. Well, there are layers to healing, baby. Doesn't happen overnight. You don't just fix it once. The universe will always serve you up a, haha, hello. Did you get the lesson? Because the universe has a sense of humor. God is a comedian. Come on, people. It's just that most of us are taking life way too serious. But when it serves up repeated lessons and you keep repeating your reactions to those lessons, you keep repeating the patterns. That's karma, baby. Dharma is going, oh hell no. Not today, Satan. I'm choosing to be the better person. I'm choosing to empower myself because I recognize that this is an old pattern of mine and that the only way to heal it is to feel it and to recognize I don't want to feel that way anymore. And that when I respond differently, I have already shifted it just by the choosing, the knowing, the allowing yourself to feel it fully, to heal it fully. You set in motion the energetic shifting. The holy shift occurs. The heavens open up, and of course the light shines down upon you, and the angels start singing. Oh, la, 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 la. The truth is if you want to heal yourself, you gotta feel it all. You gotta feel it to heal it. And no matter how icky it feels, I guarantee you'll notice it shifts a lot quicker the more you're willing to sit in your own muck than if you were to keep on rejecting, resisting, pushing it away, shaming yourself, blaming yourself, because all that's doing is perpetuating the karmic cycle. Karma is the definition of crazy, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And we all know that doesn't work. So, here we are. What is coming up for you? This past week, what I witnessed in the collective and myself, because when I feel it deeply, then I know it's a big thing for everyone. So on Wednesday, something started stirring in me. I was wanting to retreat, and this is my feeling to go within. Like literally when I feel antisocial, and that's very rare for me. I can be antisocial. I can hermit with the best of them, but I can go out and do the whole crowd because I'm a Leo and I'm naturally in the spotlight. It doesn't bother me. I can also hide off to the side and be the witness and observe because I love to people watch too. So I become a chameleon in all of my life. And I have a Libra rising, so I'm all about achieving balance. I'm all about making sure everybody's taken care of. Sometimes it's been at my own expense. But when I notice I'm contracting, I'm retreating, I'm much more protective of my energy and my space. It makes it very challenging to go outside and deal with others. And I noticed that on Wednesday, and it came up a little bit more yesterday because I woke up feeling like I felt a little sad because I I want to be kind to people around me, and sometimes I kind of become cold. It's just I'm in a tunnel vision, and it's not personal. I never make it personal with other people, but I found myself slightly impatient. I didn't feel I was extremely sharp, but I was literally in my bubble, and I was literally on my focus. And it's something I try to be very conscientious about the way I treat others, because I know how I like to be treated. And it was attention-based energy yesterday. It was literally the type of energy that when I was around, I was like, oh, okay. I knew it wasn't me. It wasn't just me. It was me too, because we're all connected. But when you feel like that, it's okay to be like, listen, I'm having a day. Don't take anything personal. Because when you preface how you're feeling with others, then they know not to take it personal or make it personal. Because then you've already put them in the warning that, listen, I'm just not real social right now. I can't talk. I'm just in a space of just contraction, which is deep reflection, is recognizing what's bubbling up for me. So I came home on Wednesday and I had to sit with it, and I went through some things. I realized, oh my gosh, I know this. I am about to go through a major, major transformation. 23 years of these two. Some people call them the sisters, some people call them the tatas, some people call them the boobies. Listen, what's been sitting on this shelf? It's kind of comical to me. 23 years, I've had 2 sets. The first set were saline, and they felt hard as rocks. I had them in for about 10 years before I had them replaced in 2009. Actually, I had them just around 9 years. From 2000 to 2009. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, it was 1999 to 2009, because I was between PCSing when I was still in the Air Force. I went from DC to Belgium working in NATO. So it was a perfect transition time, because then they didn't know that I hadn't had the boobs beforehand. Sometimes that's how we roll, right? We're not trying to make a big scene. We're not trying to get lots of questions. I wanted them to look natural. That's all that mattered. At the time, I just wanted to fill out my clothes properly. Because for me, I was barely an AB cup. And I can't say I was really conscious, but I've always had really pronounced nipples. So if I was wearing a t-shirt, I didn't really need a bra. But in this day and age, if you got nipples, it attracts the babies. Just saying. I mean, even when I wear bras, it's not something I can hide, and I'm not ashamed of it. In fact, for a long time, I was really embarrassed, because it does draw attention. It draws attention. Big boobs, small boobs, you got nipples, you attract the babies. Facts of life. Anyway, so I had them done. No regrets that I had them done either, by the way. That was a different part of my life. That was when I wanted that. And I'm accustomed to them now. And I had them removed and replaced in 2009 because I had a car accident and it felt like it shifted them. And I decided to have the silicone put in, and I think they're a textured. And I did it because I wanted them to be softer. I didn't want to feel like when I did yoga that they were going to pop out of the sides, because that's how the previous ones felt. And literally, these are softer. I don't know, I might have gone a little bigger, but not much. And the doctor that I had do them, I said, I had this pain under the other ones. And I said, if you could stitch the side. I didn't say anything about going underneath. But this doctor took it upon himself. I had no choice at the time because I was under the knife. It's not like they wake you up and say, hey, your nipples are off and I want to sew under here. That's what really made me upset, because after the surgery, I woke up to find out he not only stitched the side, but he went up underneath my left side. And he didn't do it on both sides. He just did it on one side. So this is part of my irritation with this set. The other thing is even if our nipples are off as women, I can tell you right now, we adjust our nipples according to our clothes. It's not like anybody was going to see it, and it wasn't something obvious to the average person. Even I was like, if my shoulder is up higher on one side, it's going to look like my nipples are off. And a lot of times us women carry bags on our shoulders and it offsets our shoulders. So therefore, what are you talking about? My nipples are off. That's the least of my concerns. I was more concerned about him just taking care of the breasts. I didn't ask about him adjusting anything for my nipples. In fact, I would have been even more upset had he touched my nipples because I like my nipples. Anyway, so going forward, as a result of him stitching under here, this has now been, let's see, since 2009, we were in 23. So 14 years later, you're looking at this one here. When I'm wearing a bikini bottom, you can't see it as much on the screen, but let me tell you, when I take off my shirt and my clothes, this one's here and this one's down here on the underside. And that makes it look really off. Not only do the boobs look off, but then my nipples don't look right either anyway. So what difference it made? It was absurd to me. Anyway, he has since retired. And I am now getting them removed just because I just want to be au naturel again. To remove the sacs that are on my chest, I literally, Spirit came through me and said, it's going to be like a heavy weight lifted off of my chest. And because I've dealt with a lot of chronic illness, a lot of chronic pain, I'm almost convinced, number one, this shoulder issue I've been having for a while, for years, will be less and less. It will go away, as well as I deal with Raynaud's, which is an autoimmune disease where I get cold into the bones, my fingers, my feet. I also believe it'll adjust other issues, but I won't know till they're gone. Because funny enough, doctors don't connect dots. Doctors don't tell you what has caused your autoimmune or your chronic illness or your chronic inflammation or pain. They don't know. They treat symptoms. Doctors practice medicine. They don't live in your body 24/7. You are responsible for being the temple that you inhabit 24/7. It is communicating to you the only language you know, and only you know you. So to outsource to a doctor means you don't trust your own inner source. Because Source created you in his perfect image. Source, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. Why would you trust someone outside of you? You have everything you need within you. I trust myself. I trust my body. I know how easily and quickly it repairs and heals itself. I tell a story. So I was walking Buddy the other day and I ran into a wonderful lady and we were having a conversation about how amazing the human body is and how able to repair itself, and that we are taught limitation. We don't know limitation. As children, we're not nurtured into knowing ourselves. We're taught what we should know. We're taught our limitations. When you teach limitations, it's hard to unravel, to deprogram that stuff, and we're all going through it, right? So what I was sharing with her, the greatest example, was that one of my neighbor's dogs, I ran into them and they said, oh yeah, we're bringing our dog in because the dog had a knee replacement, which I rarely ever heard of this one. I didn't even know they did that. I had no idea they gave knee replacements for pets. They brought the dog in, and it turned out the reason the knee replacement had moved was because the dog regrew its knee back. And I said, see, that's a perfect example that an animal can teach you. If the dog can repair and regrow its own knee because it doesn't know limitation. Nature's always teaching us. How much are you paying attention to the teachings of nature? Nature cleans house. Nature knows how to rebalance, restore, rebirth. It goes through cycles. It goes through seasons. We see it every year. We go through the same thing. We are no different. And we're symbiotic with the earth. So when you look outside of yourself into nature, that's within you too. There are deep roots within you, just like the tree in the ground. And so when you think about, oh my gosh, I'm limited, I have this obstacle, I have this challenge, I can't, like we come up with more excuses to defend our limitations than giving ourselves permission to seek out defining what our expectations and expansiveness really is. Like, we are so much more powerful. Why not trust in that? Trust in the unknown. Think about over the course of your life how many times you've gone through many deaths. You've gone through major life change, because life is birth, rebirth, and death to the infinity. The truth is, we are being reborn all the time. We are going through many deaths. We are grieving and mourning and celebrating and starting over again, and we just never really tune into that. And it should be normalized that whenever we're going through major life cycles, we need to go through the process and honor what arises within us, the emotions that stir, because what is happening is internally, physiologically, emotionally, mentally, all of it is connected. There's an inner knowing that the change is coming because we're grieving the loss of what we've always known. And when that is going away, it's that, what am I going to know? It's unfamiliar. You go through a bit of a holding pattern in between of what you've always known, has always been supportive of you, has always been reliable, consistent, satisfying the at least three of the five human needs, Maslow's hierarchical needs. All he has to do is satisfy three to be an addiction. And yes, our lives, our patterns, our lifestyles become addictions if you pay attention. Like, oh my gosh, what would I do if I didn't have this routine? Some people, that's, got to go to bed at a certain time, got to get up at a certain time. I say shake it all up. Who the heck cares? I think we get way too dogmatic in a lot of things, but that's another story for another time. But when we feel the loss of something that's going out, it's like, wait, no. Could be a person. You have to honor. How did it serve you? How did it make you a better person? You have to reflect upon the beauty it brought to your life. And also, you can go down the rabbit hole of all the negatives, but like, celebrate it because it served you. It served you to get to this pivotal point of transformation to where something new and unfamiliar. Yeah, you might have a little bit of a concept around what's coming in, but it's changing up your life. It's literally ushering in, here's something new and unfamiliar. How are you going to handle it? You may be looking forward to it, but then there's the, am I deserving of it? Am I worthy of it? Is this really what I want? You start to go through the trepidations of moving forward too. Because, see, the mind wants to keep you safe. And it likes comfort in knowing what's coming. And when it doesn't know, it puts out that sensation of, oh, it can't be good. Because the mind's there to protect you. So anything unfamiliar, anything unknown to the mind is a threat. And when you start to notice how your mind is responding and it's creating stories and you're feeling anxious, and the emotions are reactions to the stories because you're believing or buying into them, especially if they're negative, where it's like, how am I going to feel? Are other people going to love me? Are they still going to like me? Am I going to be attractive? And this is what's drawing out of me. So when that starts coming up, it's like, it's not that it's true, but you need to feel the feels so that you can go, oh, wow, isn't that crazy? Wow, I didn't realize this really bothered me. I didn't realize this would set off this chain of events, of emotions and waves rumbling up from within. So when that happens, it's like, you need to honor that. That's a part of you. And it doesn't mean it's going to stick around. You've got to be trusting in the comings that it's meant for you. You have to let go in order to grow. And the big gnosis, the big deep inner knowing is that you've been here before. This isn't your first rodeo. There have been other times in your life when you have experienced major life change and you noticed things started stirring up. And when they stirred up, you were like, okay, I don't know what this is about. Because a lot of times we're not tuned into it. We just assume, I don't know why I'm feeling this way, why I'm so emotional. Well, Mercury just went into Pisces, so there's a whole emotional thing coming up. But also because we are in such deep metamorphosis right now. The holy shift is happening, people. And it is stirring up our shit. Whether it's something in your personal life or you're feeling it on the collective level. We're all going through it together. And whenever we get closer and closer and closer to the ushering in, the actual date, the real manifestation of the change, because we're reacting to the energies. We haven't even gotten there yet. My surgery is not till the end of the month. I still got a couple weeks. But the way that I'm feeling it, and literally last night, I had to really I say marinate. I marinated in it. And I was literally physiologically feeling pain so deep in my bones, in my joints. My migraines were picking up. And that's another thing. We have solar flare activity coming up this weekend. We're supposed to have a massive solar flare on Sunday or Monday. And I feel that stuff when it comes in. I'm a sun. I'm the Leo. So I am super sensitive, and my head was it was pounding so bad that I felt it in my eye sockets. I felt like my head was going to explode. And as I sat with it, marinated in it, and just was like, okay, wow. I realize I have fear around this. Like, this is a major life change. I'm going to be operated on. I haven't had a surgery since my appendectomy. I'm not looking forward to going under the knife in that respect. And then, of course, when you do anesthesia, sometimes you lose hair. And so I'm having to ask that question, what kind of anesthesia are you going to use? I'm a little bit, anxious about losing hair again, because when I had my appendectomy, I had hair coming out in clumps. And so it's important to ask questions. And I'm sitting there going, wow, how small are my boobs going to be? I mean, it's going to be nice to have the weight lifted off. I'm really excited to see how that affects me and what symptoms of illnesses and chronic, discomfort, inflammation, the Raynaud's. I'm wondering what's going to change in that respect. Like, is this going to clear up a lot of things that doctors like to give you medication to cover up the symptoms, but maybe they don't connect the dots with the different illnesses that are caused by breast implants. Because yes, it's a vanity thing. It's elective. Nobody has to do it. I don't judge anybody. I did this because I wanted to. And everybody has the freedom to choose when and how they go under the knife, or they do decide any type of medical procedure. That's the way life should be. Nobody telling anybody what to do or shaming or blaming them for what they do decide to do. So breast implants, there's a lot of chemicals in the actual implants, just the sac, the casing, the enclosure of it, and what's inside of them too. And then it's an energetic thing too, because to me, this is our heart. It's our lungs. This is the electromagnetic field. And so when we put something that covers it, how much of our heart, I'm me speaking for me, how much of my heart is being protected in the sense that I'm not allowing the full expression of who I am? Maybe this is part of that. On an energetic level, psychological, mentally and physically, I just feel like this is going to be a major boost in other ways. So it's not to deflate me, which is kind of comical. But the idea that just taking two foreign objects out of my body's going to go back to, oh, wait a minute here. We don't have this foreign body. And when foreign invaders are inside of your body, that's what increases the inflammation, because that's the white blood cells fighting it off. And so it is a scary, major transition for me, but I feel like a butterfly who's about to emerge too at the same time. So these waves come through, like maybe I will decide to get breast implants again at some point if I'm unhappy. I'm even thinking like that, because I'm like, well, maybe, but the doctor recommended to take them out and not replace them so that my body can get healed, so that the pectoral muscles can re-adhere to the chest and the ribs. And to me, that's important, because he said you want to heal in that way and not leave any air pockets. So my biggest concern for the first 2 weeks is to be as ginger and loving and tender with myself, to take a rest, literally take a rest off my chest. And maybe that will also help, where in my past I've also had some issues with breathing. Even though I teach breath work and it's my passion, like removing this could open up more deeper breath. Because the breadth of your life, the expanse, is measured by the depth of your breath. So even if you're someone who has shallow breathing, you need to work on expanding down into the pelvic floor and expanding the chest fully. And when we round the shoulders, this is very protective. And what this does is it constricts our ability to open the lungs. It also constricts our heart, which is supposed to pump all the blood throughout our body. So whenever we're thinking we're protecting, or this is our, our natural way to be because we're afraid of opening our heart and our lungs, the truth of the matter is you're only hurting yourself. Because when we close off this area, we're making our heart work harder, and our lungs can't expand and take in as much air as we need. And that's the blood getting oxygenated by the heart, by the lungs. So they work hand in hand. You need the breath to oxygenate the blood and to pump the heart. The more you do this, the more you're cutting off your life support, your life force energy, and the heart needs it to beat. So there's so much connected in here that when you put the dots together, when you learn about you trust in your own body and your own body wisdom, that no doctor, no other person but yourself can navigate this amazing temple, this system, this magnificent, magical system that does everything it needs to do without you having to cue it what to do. And so again, like, this is something that I'm just like, wow. I mean, like I said, last night I'm laying in bed going, I actually found myself in fear. I found myself laying in bed recognizing, things can happen when you go under the knife. And I'm okay. If something happens to me, I'm okay with that. Not crazy about not coming out, because I have all sorts of plans. So, it's not my plan. But the truth of the matter is, if something were to happen to me, I'm okay with that. I've made peace with my life. I'm happy where I'm at. But when it boils down to it, I also have a whole lot of stuff planned. So just keep me in your prayers. Yeah. So thank you for listening, and let me know what's coming up for you. Because the truth of the matter is, everybody's got something coming up for them. And the only way to move through what we're going through is to really feel the feels. You got to feel it. You got to feel it fully in order to heal it and heal it fully. Whenever something comes up for you, whenever something's being triggered, inevitably you're feeling the emotions long before the actual manifestation of whatever's coming in. So for me, I'm going into surgery in a couple weeks, and I'm feeling it the risings up, because this is how my life is. I recognize when emotions start stirring within me. Oh, it's because some major change is coming into my life. Something's rumbling in, something's ripple effect. I've also got some other things going on that I'm also working through that are also going to be shifting my life in a magical way. So when I'm lying in bed and I'm noticing that I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling like, wow, what if people don't like it? Like, this is okay. Oh, yeah. You know, that's the death of friendships and relationships. All of it is the major life change, because when we have to let people go, I had to have let go of several people last year out of my life, because I recognized they weren't serving me. They were literally just, we call it entitlement. We call it, there are people, they only want things from you. They don't understand receptivity. And so they'll take and they won't return. And when it's not receptive, that shows you they're in survival mode, not thrival mode. Because when you're in thrival mode, you are in that giving mode, but you also recognize there's a receptivity. And in order for energy to stay in motion, it has to flow back and forth. It can't be one way, because that is not the healthy way for energy to keep in that motion. You can't stay stuck. You can't hold on to something, because eventually it's going to turn into some form of a conflict, a dis-ease, a discourse. Like letting people stay in your life, being a parasite or taking advantage of you when you're not taking, see, because it's a reflection of how you're treating yourself too. You know, there's a point where some of us are just natural givers, and then people will come in, and then we realize, oh, you're not receptive. See, the law of receptivity is simply this. When someone does something good for you, it's good behavior to return the favor. You want them to continue doing for you that which it is they've been doing for you. Otherwise, they're not going to continue to do it. And so when they stop doing it, it's only you to blame, not the other person. So if they've been giving and you're receiving, and you're not giving back to reinforce the receiving of what you're getting, then they're eventually going to call you out. They're going to basically let you go. I mean, some people won't even do that much. They'll just walk away, and you'll be like, what happened there? Duh. Oh. And in the end, everybody knows their shit. Even if they don't want to own it, you know deep down what you have and haven't done. I've been there. I've done that on so many different levels. If you want someone to continue doing good things for you, you need to reinforce and show appreciation for it. Or they're just going to be like, well, fine with you. You clearly don't appreciate it. Why would I give to you when you don't really show me in return that it's appreciated? That's how life is. And that's actually something I think that some of us were raised knowing. Like, we grew up with the type of elders that taught us to respect that was just something ingrained in a lot of us. Not everybody learned this growing up. So I don't take it for granted that you know everybody's going to know this. But I think that we need to remind each other that if you like what I'm doing for you, it needs to be reinforced. But talking about surgery, going through major change of your physical body, like, you know, plastic surgery is no joke. Whatever you decide to do, trust what your choice is. Like, you don't just go under the knife just because. Like, I would like to think that people research their surgeons, they do their due diligence. I'm just grateful. I feel very comfortable with my surgeon. And I mean, it just sounds like a simple surgery to just remove and just allow the healing, and I'll have tubes coming out to drain. Yeah, see, I can see the difference. Y'all can't, because you're not, this is my body, so I know my body. But anyway, I'm going to have drainage tubes for 2 weeks. I'm not crazy about that part. And the thing is, most people don't realize you use your pectoral muscles so much more than you realize. Like, just your hands. Like, everything is connected. When you use your arms, like when you go to lift your arms and everything, I'm going to have my neighbor coming by to take care of Buddy because there's no way I can pick up, go and open up the door. It's too strong. Like, look at how, when I do this, see how I'm moving the muscle? Like, that's me pushing the door open and just arms up overhead. And, of course, when I had my breasts put in, there was this pressure and expansion. Now it's going to be the other direction, right? Yeah, I'm very blessed. I'm so grateful for my neighbors across the street. They love Buddy, and they just walk across the street and just let him in and out because this is his house. He's a happy dog. But it's a scary thing too. Like, you don't discount whatever comes up for you, whatever you're going through right now, because even like this I can talk about it and it can sound nonchalant. Oh, it's no big deal. But the truth of the matter is to sit with, oh my gosh, what am I going to look like in a bikini? I'm going to have to change a bunch of clothes. I'm going to have to get rid of a bunch of stuff. Maybe some of my favorite clothes aren't going to fit the same way. Or, because one of the reasons I got breast implants was so I could fill out my clothes, so I had a perfect hourglass. And, I love classic feminine clothes, and now am I going to be okay? And what's that going to look like? And, what am I going to have to get rid of? What am I going to have to buy to replace? Like, this is what goes through my mind. And what about dating? How many men out there are boob men? All my pictures that are up on the dating website, or the man that I just started kind of getting to know. It's like, what is their reaction going to be? I haven't mentioned this yet. And so people will show you who they are based on their reaction and their response to what you choose to do for you. That's a true statement now, isn't it? Because don't let anyone blame and shame you, because chances are they're just comparing themselves to you and judging you based on what they would or wouldn't do for themselves. That's how that works. The majority of people's judgment is just their comparison. That's all it is. So even though it's not personal, they make it personal. And then they act like it's them, and then they proceed to give you advice based on it being them. Because that's where people operate from what they know. They don't know you, they just know themselves. So, judge the less, when it really boils down to it, they know not what they do. We know not what we do, because we're all human. But on a soul level, we ultimately all want to be accepted. We all want to be loved. We want to connect with one another. We want to be accepted for who we are and not what we do or, what we've done in the past. How about that one? Like, we're in a time now where your past can come up to haunt you, and it's like, wait a minute here. That's my past. And I have evolved and become a whole different person. We change every single day. We change every single month. We change every single year. Like women, we're shedding our cycles at least every 28 days or so. So like, come on, people, quit with the judgments of the past. I get it if it's somebody from your past and you have to take it gingerly and slowly because you want to know that they did change in the better, or if they haven't become worse, whatever your story and your history is. Like, we really truly want to be seen with the ability to change, not held imprisoned to our past mistakes. And if we can't do that for another, then how can we expect anyone to do it for us either? So maybe some people are just showing back up in your life, because that shit happens all the time too, doesn't it? You think, wow, hadn't heard from that person in a while. I wonder why they picked up the phone and called me. It's going to be happening. It always happens. Because there's melancholy. And some people, they'll miss you how you were, and they'll reach out to test and see. Or maybe they themselves, they have regrets and they miss you and they want to make amends. Or could be that they just want to see if you're still the same person and you'll take them back. Whatever it is, just feel the feels. Notice how you're feeling inside of you and trust your inner guidance system. This is what this is all about right now. This is the time where it's like, are you going to stay true to you? Are you going to walk your path? Or are you going to allow someone or something to trip you up and take you off your course. Like, you need to set the sails and the direction you want to go these days, because it's up to you to navigate your life. So no matter what's stirring up, trust that what it is stirring up is good change in the future. Because anytime something uncomfortable emotionally is stirring up, this has been my experience. Get excited, but honor it, because there's wisdom in the discomfort, believe it or not. It's like, oh, something's about to shift. Change is a-coming. And when change is a-coming, the key is in the awareness of what you're feeling. And deep reflection, I highly recommend you journal, you write down, what is it that you're feeling? What memories are coming up? What stress, what thoughts, what stories are conjuring up in your mind? Because the mind's trying to concoct something for tangibility, because it's like, I don't have anything to go on, so let's just create something. Like, confront that. Don't let it rule you. You're here to master your domain. And the more you are in awareness of your own mind and your own inner workings, whatever's coming up for you, the less likely it's going to take you out and control you. Because your awareness is the key to mastering your domain. And it's in awareness of the mind and the patterns. What's conscious or unconsciously running the show, running your program. You need to be able to recognize that whatever's coming up, it deserves your attention. If it feels like tension, lean in it, lean into it, give it your attention. Because once you start giving attention to the tension kind of softens and goes, oh, I'm seen. Listen to it. Ooh, I'm heard. Ah, feel into it. Ah, it's like, what will happen is it's like a flower that opens its petals and says, I present you with this. I like to say when I'm in yoga class, when I'm teaching, when you start breathing into the tension, you create space with the breath. And it needs the space to open up to show and reveal whatever the message is within it. Because there's pain in your purpose, there's purpose in your pain, there's always a message being delivered, but you have to be present for it. Because the more you resist it, the more it will persist. The more it persists and you try to push it away, you're just short, you're prolonging the pain. It's lingering longer. And you're not allowing yourself the opportunity to hear the message. So when you do get into it and you're like, okay, I'm going to sit in my muck. I'm going to marinate in this crap. Okay. Boom. It goes quicker. The amount of time that people spend pushing things away that they dislike or the discomfort, believe it or not, they spend more time and more energy exhausting themselves than if they just sat with it. If they just went, okay, shit, this fucking sucks. Oh, that's what that's about. It was like me last night laying in bed and going, because I recognize whatever's stirring up is meant for me to marinate in, to really deeply reflect in it. I'm laying in bed just like, wow, I was getting images. I was feeling the whole, wow, this is very invasive. This is a major surgery. This is a major change for me. And gosh, what if something happened? And what are people going to think? Like, I'm like, wow, I really care. Wow, I got some fear in there. Like, I was owning that, because when you own it, it doesn't own you. The more you're willing to marinate and sit in the shit, the less it's going to linger. You own it, and it won't own you. But the more you push it away, you exhaust yourself, you're creating more of it, because what you anticipate, you create. So the more that pain is lingering, it's prolonging your moving forward. It's prolonging the lightening up. Because as soon as you go through the process, the quicker it passes. And that's what life is about. Can you be present? Can you choose to be present even in the discomfort, and stop dissing your comfort? That which you think you dislike, you're dissing it. You're dissing yourself. So if you can just shift your perspective around anything that has the word dis in front of it, I dislike this. I have a dis-ease. Stop with the limitations and stop with the labels. Own it so it doesn't own you. Love it so it'll love you too. What you want, golden rule, do unto others as you want done unto you. Do unto yourself, because that's how others will do unto you. Love yourself, all your aspects. Shadow work, this is the hardest part for people. They don't want to own their shit. The more you own your shit, the more whole you'll be. And when you know your deepest, darkest secrets and you don't let them rule over you, that in itself makes you that much more powerful. Because when you know your deepest, darkest shadow and you own that and you embrace it as part of your whole instead of rejecting it, that actually enhances your light. That actually lets you shine that much brighter. Because in our imperfection, we radiate our divine perfection. As a human being, the soul will emerge when the human is whole. Because the soul is hand in hand, a part of your whole. So with that said, you have to let go in order to grow. Own it all so it doesn't own you. And with major life change comes up a major life. Can you step into it? Or are you too fearful of what you're feeling now? The more you can be present with what is here and now and appreciate it all, celebrate it, because what you give gratitude and you grow with appreciation, where attention goes, energy flows. What is it that you truly want to grow? What vision do you hold for yourself? Own it, love it, live it. With that said, have a wonderful evening and sweet dreams. I love you.